That is not inaccurate. Um, Speaking of what is accurate, we are officially 3 minutes past hard start, and I will give you all a free moment away from my little small ears to poison myself a little bit longer and give our wayward person who actually did RSVP an opportunity to arrive. When I return, we will hit the ground running because, without a shadow of a doubt, my thanks included, I'm not sure if you guys quite understand that this is the third episode of the second season. This is officially, without a shadow of a doubt, a Looking Glasses smile. And after these commercial messages, we'll be right back.
Oh, also, Ballard Industries is tied to basically everything, and we have to kill them. We have to burn them all. We have to, in fact, make sure that anyone even thinking to get remotely close to the status and the goals that they are attempting to pursue looks upon the ashes and the crumpled forms that were once Ballard and relents.
Someone's been watching Black Dynamite, huh?
All right, let's see. I believe it's go time if everybody's prepared.
It is. It is 100% go time. The orchestra had already practiced and warmed up. The strings are tuned. The drums are tightened. The stage lights are coming up. The crowd trundling in, removing their outer garments, their overcoats, their shawls, their drapes, taking their positions. Some carrying glasses of wine, others other sources of liquid refreshment, settling into their seats, doing the usual uncomfortable, oh, pardon me, excuse me, I think that seat's mine, and settling in the soft carpet of this cathedral to entertainment, once more trod by heavy foot. And the orchestra begins. Just a small, singular viola, starting with the opening chords, with the other strings slowly melding into that refrain, and a subtle roar of the drum timpani. You've been on Chicago, and what that means visually and emotionally. Chicago is the greatest American city that exists because it is at once the ideal, typical American city. It is the foundation for the idea of the suburb. It is the founder of the research that went into creating the nuclear bomb. It is the first city that was planned down to the very definition of what each and every block would be. Every street exactly 230 going east and west, and 660 feet going north and south, with alleys for egress for the armed forces should there ever be a need to reclaim the city, to fight for the city, or to the city under martial law. The expressways built, trampling so many communities lost to time, so that if, in the case of emergency, the National Guard, the Army, the Marines, and even the Air Force might be able to operate throughout the entirety of its full stretch. The only city that was a blueprint for several hundred others. The designers of Chicago went on to revolutionize what urban planning was. The foundations of the criminal empire spread throughout the entirety of the contiguous United States, all simulacrums and copies of the criminal organizations that operated in and around the Chicagoland area. Cicero, to this day, bears the scars of gangland warfare, generationally passed down, walked through, and visited daily by his denizens. And for all of the squalor, for all of the pain, emotionally, spiritually, and oftentimes physically, there's no place like it. And it's like loving a person who has fought for every inch of ground that they no longer have and will continue fighting for every inch of ground that might present itself to them. A person that loves furiously, tearing themselves and you apart in the name of that love. It gets in the blood. It gets right down to the bones. It causes fond memories looking at bruises and scrapes and things survived. And as much, in an equal measure, to those pains and suffering, and the appreciation is also the loathing. You say it with pride in poor situations that you shouldn't have been in. Do you know I'm from fucking Chicago? Famous individuals touted as the foundation for what they are. Poor individuals touted for the foundation of everything that they've ever been. It is the place where dreams are built, blood and tears, and they're realized in the same measure. It's not for the faint of heart nor weak of will. It is a city that is designed to eat, to devour, to gourmandize, until there's nothing left to eat but itself. That's where we open with the shelter. A few successes under their belts, a few tense conversations under their belt, a few open admissions and understanding of where they are, between a rock and a hard place, between Sheila and Charybdis, between all of tomorrow's hopes and dreams and all of yesterday's failures, is where they firmly are. And once more, with a feeling, they have found themselves in the center of their being, in the center of domain. They are in the morgue. Their errands successfully accomplished, their plans in the offing, the next step sitting there before them to choose, and now, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. One hunger, everyone has reconvened with their successes under their belt. And tonight is in the offing. Tonight, there are several conversations that are needed, as well as several places they need to be. Damian, unfortunately, coming out of the woodworks, demanding their time as certain things have come to his attention. And for the record, you all need to get your story straight because you're not sure exactly what has forced him to act in the fullness of his office and send you all a summons.
Now, what was it you said about hunger? Increase or decrease?
What number is that one?
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, should do it. Boom. All right. Beautiful. I suppose then, are we gathered at this point, or are we gathering?
You are gathered.
Okay. Just kind of approaching the location, walking with the group. He'll kind of elbow Hestia lightly. You got an idea what this is all about?
Not particularly. Damian is a bit of a wild card. It has to be pretty much something big, though. I think if he is getting this, well, not requesting our presence, but demanding it, so we should probably do our best not to put our foot in our mouth or admit to anything we don't want on public record or to be punished for.
Okay,
So keep your P's and Q's about you, I guess.
let's get straight what we don't want known then.
That we were dropped off 3 bodies and had to make them disappear. That we have a tattletale
Right,
watching
so
our every action and
nothing about
reporting.
Bill or
Yeah. Those are the 2 biggest things that I can think of right now. Anything else anybody can think of?
I'm not, suffice to say, I'm not particularly keen on those 2 subjects as well, but, I think keeping information about the rats quiet might be on the table. I don't know whether or not you let Damian in on the fact that you've got a little protective racket going on, but I don't like...
No, that is not
I don't like
something I
anything being
actively
known
told
outside
him.
of it. Okay. Well then, we'll keep the rats under wrap if everybody's okay with that. And, I don't know, I'm not particularly sure outside of those 3 things if there's anything that we really got that's incriminating. I mean, I'm sure there's something.
Existing is incriminating.
Okay, but like, that we can't tell Damian.
My point stands.
I wish that contributed any context. Alright. If that's the case, and we're all good to go, just stay calm and carry on. Theo, where have you been up to? Theo? Oh god, is he gone again? Did I just try and talk to... Did he Batman me?
No, I haven't done much of anything. Just been kind of, skulking.
Okay. We were just wondering. Couldn't find you the other day.
He was healing the burns
Yeah.
that Amalia gave him.
Gotcha.
Amalia is my good friend. I take offense to that.
Alright, well, just keep in mind that anything that's brought up that you think might disrupt the coteries' operations, skirt around it. If you're asked a direct question, we'll go along with whatever answers each of us comes up with. Try and keep it nice, consistent, cohesive.
Always the issue. Consistency isn't what comes natural. There's improvisation. There is sometimes accidental, sometimes purposeful misperception of things. There is the fact that while you're both standing staring at the exact same thing, you may see white. The other person may see eggshell. Some person may see, oh, but it's filled with stars. any eyewitness account is always fraught with inconsistencies and reasons for doubt. Saying nothing, for those astute and insightful enough, is far worse than saying everything wrong. Because giving room to breathe, giving room to breed and multiply like mushrooms in the dark, suspicions will do exactly that.
Absolutely. Oh, we can only hope that we're all in the same general wavelength.
That is, in fact, the hope. Damian doesn't have many people down to his actual offices. Because he does have actual offices, of which the shelter, at multiple points throughout the existence of their history, have visited on multiple occasions. Various versions and iterations of the shelter have been to Damian's offices. Various versions and iterations of their members have rubbed elbows and sat on the leather couch. Some have made jokes and cracked wise about the casting couch. Others, not so much. All of that to say, as you all get your story straight and you brave the increasingly difficult Chicago roadways. Now, his office there on North Lincoln, just south of Belmont. How do you all want to get there? Because it's normally, if you drive the speed limit and you obey all of the traffic patterns and what have you, about a 35 minute drive, depending on which way you take. Of course, there's Lakeshore Drive, there using Clark, there's going west to Western and taking that down instead. There's even brave enough to put up with the constantly shifting, chaotic nature that is Ravenswood, even taking that all the way there. But each path, because Chicago driving is in fact a contact sport, brings with it its own issues and its own opportunities for the calm of being behind the wheel of a vehicle.
I'd assumed we were all moving in, if not a singular vehicle, then a small convoy, correct?
You tell me.
One
I'm
car is
asking the group
perfectly
here.
fine.
All right. And a
We'll all
singular
fit in
vehicle
one,
then.
yep.
Okay. And as for the other travel plans?
I'd say we take a more stereotypicus route so that we can kind of get an idea of what the hell's going on.
Okay. All right. And driver. Who's the driver?
I say Hestia. We always have fun when Hestia's driving.
She puts her little booster seat in the driver's seat.
Oh, absolutely. Like we just watch her fucking increase the height of the seat to the max, then put the booster seat on. I'm like, man, why do we have a child driving for us?
Does Hestia want Miriam?
I'm okay either way. I'd be fine to drive, or we can have Miriam drive. It doesn't matter.
I can
Either
do
way, it's
either.
gonna be funny watching her get out of the car, wiggling her little legs until she hits the ground.
I mean, if we take Miriam's car, it's an SUV, so.
Even funnier. Let's see that.
SUV it is.
I'm good with
Yes.
that.
So we could spend forever and a day describing how moving across the city is literally like visiting several hundred different small villages. We can describe on how difficult traffic is, because the truth of the matter is, while there are a surfeit of drivers zooming, booming, listening to their music, and otherwise getting in the way, the truth of the matter is, it very much is, and without any exaggeration, a full-on contact sport, and it takes being both extraordinarily defensive and extraordinarily offensive in protecting the sanctity of your vehicle. Because it's not rubbing, it's just rush hour traffic. It is just the nature of the business. You will be dented, dinged, brushed, scraped, and perhaps more often than one would hope to, flat out just crashed into. Sometimes on purpose, sometimes because there are extraordinarily ulterior motives involved. Far too often, simply because of negligence. What is Hestia's drive by itself?
Esty or Miriam?
Sorry, look, it's Hess's is 2. I don't know what Miriam's is.
I thought Hestia was driving. Or did you guys
Miriam.
change that to Miriam's driving?
I think Miriam
No,
offered. I didn't.
Miriam decided to take over.
Okay. Well, that being the case, Miriam, what is your drive by itself?
Itself, just a mere little teeny tiny one.
Okay. And I need you to average some things out for me. Your stamina, your resolve, and your wits. What's the average of those three?
Uh, five.
You have a 5 in all three of those?
Oh wait, no. Ha ha ha. I'm dividing by 2, not 3. 3-point repeating 3.
Aha. So grand total of 4 is the average. Put upon is your sojourn, your travail across the city. It is literally going into several different worlds. It is literally crossing people's path who, well, shouldn't be crossed. They shouldn't be on the road, to say the least. And then in other situations, there's people who are just absolutely ridiculous. They weren't supposed to do that. So here's what happens. The world just didn't like you guys. The fate is lending its hand in all the wrong places. It is acting as if it's never had the opportunity of teaching you all in ways that you don't like. And fate, as fate does, as its cousin Kismet and Serendipity sit on the sidelines laughing and pointing as you cross Belmont. You're less than a quarter of a mile away, because all you do is cross Belmont, make that left down Lincoln, and it's before you hit Barry, which is literally the next major street from where you are. So that Barry, you're gonna make another left up Greenview and pull into the little parking spaces there behind the studio. Easy. Easiest thing that you could possibly do. And yet, as you're crossing Belmont, if you've made that left off Ashland and Belmont and making your way south along Lincoln Avenue, right there at the Farmer's Keeper, the jackass in the green throwback Datsun makes a U-turn in front of you all, clipping your front passenger bumper and shearing it off like a well-used Band-Aid. In the doing and in his fear, responding to the sound of grinding, tearing metal, he does what you should never do in that situation. He lets go of the steering wheel, smacking against the two cars on the northbound side of Lincoln Avenue, causing all of the usual cameras and people come running. Oh my God, is everybody okay? Is everybody okay? Everybody's fine? Oh, someone get the police on the line. Someone call an ambulance. Are you guys okay?
Oh, fuck.
Just
Somebody
fine,
want to
thank
go
you.
handle him? I guess Aaron's saying that to the inside of the car while she's saying that to him.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Sit still, sit still. My cousin was in an accident, and the next day they woke up dead. I'm gonna get someone here for you guys immediately. Hang on. And you normally, in most of the neighborhood where you all spend the largest amounts of your time, they're either extraordinarily wealthy or they're extraordinarily poor. And in those two extremes of the spectrum, there is a very real see everything, witness fucking nothing. You don't want to be involved in the paperwork. You don't want to be involved in any insurance. You don't want to be called as a witness because it's going to ruin your days. Anything and cost you money, or there's a chance that you won't be leaving the courthouse because of your own particular issues. Not so with an upwardly mobile, middle income neighborhood like this. In this neighborhood, neighbors are neighbors. We look out for one another. I know all of my neighbors' cats' names. I know all of my neighbors' birds' names. Oh, I know all of my neighbors. We party and have a lovely brunch every Sunday. They're all down to my place, and I'm always up to their places. I'm sleeping with the husband and the wife, and it's that sort of neighborhood. It is that sort of place because there's the frequenters of the Chinese foot massage place just further on. There's Theater Momentum where they have a lot of foot traffic that comes and goes. There's the last decent Subway who goes completely against corporate standards and actually uses real almost bread in their recipes. There's the dentist shop. There's Farmer's Keeper. There's the one main financial where people get those horrible for you and the economy payday loans. There's the Busted Bra shop right there just south of where you all are. There's the waxing the waxing and foot massage place. There is the boxing academy. It is a vibrant hellhole of attention. It is not quite like being on Broadway. It's not quite like being on North Halsted, but it is definitely vibrant and filled with far too many people, far too interested in not being the typical expected closed-minded individuals that they have heard so much about in the big city. We care about our neighbors. And above all of those storefronts, above all of those businesses, are apartments, i.e. condos. Typically studio size, but some are a little bit larger than others. Most have balconies. There's in-building washer dryer, workout facilities. It is what most people dream their first few years in New York might be like. You don't have to leave the block for much. You've got playing against sports. You've got shopping. If you're willing to walk, which most people are, or bike or roller skate or scooter, there's tea houses and restaurants and coffee shops and artist studios and music studios and theaters and old folks' homes and schools and churches and Whole Foods. It is its own little village. And right now, you all have the village stirred up. You have the natives gone restless. You all are the excitement of the evening. What is it that you were doing?
So that person, is he still like right by the driver's side? Chit-chatting with me, or did he go away?
No, he's there. Very hyper, very caffeinated, bouncing off. He's holding his cat, which is on a walking leash and wearing a diaper. On
I-
the driver's side, other side of the street, the northbound side of the street, there's several people queuing up. Some are calling, some are looking around, some are waving to balconies. On the passenger side of the vehicle, where the truck was parked, there are several people moving from the sidewalk, some working up the bravery to actually get directly involved. On the rear, behind you all, hanging there above the street, is the traffic signal, but also that large corner to your right behind you, Ashland and Lincoln side of the street, in front of the One Main Financial, the people that were getting the payday loans, and several of those who were waiting on them outside, having their vapes and their cigarettes and their less than legal vapes and cigarettes, are beginning to consider whether it's safe for them to be there. After all, they are in a public place. You know, there are rules about how far from one thing or another you need to be when you're smoking such things, and so forth and so on. So there is a larger conglomeration of people there, but there are still people milling about, some attempting to get closer, some telling the driver not to move, relax, you'll be fine. We can get you out of here. No, we shouldn't move him. You shouldn't move him. The accident says you shouldn't move him. The ambulance is on the way. I've got a hold of 911. Why don't you just text? Do you text 911? I did.
Beautiful.
Hessel lean over towards Miriam. We might want to pull over so that we're out of the direct flow of traffic. Show everybody that we're okay and try to get the fuck out of here because I don't want to be here for the cops. We will hoof it if we have to.
Fair enough.
Mm.
We'll look at the person that is by the car. Ask them politely to move so that I can move out of the road of traffic, hop out, flip around to the back of the SUV where her medic kit is, and go attend to the other guy and give Hess the head nod to just get out of there.
Oh, all right. And I guess while that's happening, I'll pop around and very quietly and quickly obscure our license plate for any people that are taking pictures or trying to memorize it, just so that they don't have anything to really give the police officers besides the make and model. To be removed once we are out of sight, of course.
I hit unseen passage and look at the people who hit us. Try to get more information on them. This
Okay.
seems a little too convenient.
Well, here's the problem. That only works if you are not witnessed to engage. You need a dark alcove, and you need closet. You need a phone booth that's obscured and obfuscated from everybody else's view of what's going on inside. And right now, you all are the center stage. Right now, on what would have been a relatively lazy, quiet Chicago Lincoln Avenue evening, you all are forming the gossip that will probably stay alive in this area for at least the next quarter year. You all are very much a source of entertainment and enlightenment for the locals in this particular area.
All right. Well, let me get some clarification here. Miriam, are you asking for us to just leave you behind and get the fuck out of here and go to the meeting?
Yes.
I see. DM, quick question. Were we all demanded to be at this meeting?
Yes.
Yeah. Then I suppose, just kind of while he's in the midst of using some very precise and placed talk to basically yak it up with the people around him in Aaron's own little way, while also seeding hints and falsities about the group, so that whenever they're asked and described, because I imagine there's going to be a lot said about us, and I'm going to try and lead in as much wrong shit about us as possible, so that if anybody tries to put context clues together, it just doesn't happen. Meanwhile, I'll be activating double talk, and just to Miriam, we can't leave you behind. If we show up without you, it'll be on all our heads.
Give me like 10 minutes.
Storyteller, I try to get to an area where I'm least noticed so that I can hit unseen passage so I can double back to the other people.
And I ruin his plans because I've crawled over the seats. I'm getting out of one of the back seats because I know I look like a damn toddler and I shouldn't have been in the front. So as I get out, I look at Theo, raise my arms, uppy, uppy.
So as Miriam is going around helping people, quote unquote, she is just basically using cloud memory on people, so they don't really have the same story, like, oh, it was totally this vehicle, or it was that vehicle, or I don't know, maybe it was just a trash can.
As you're being called, Theo, what is it that you're urging? Are you going to pick Hestia up, or are you going to leave her in the middle of the scene of it all?
Okay. So that obviously didn't work. I'm gonna pick Hestia up, get out the car. Hestia, do you know a way to either long range monitor or track a vehicle? He whispers in her ear as he's lifting her up.
I mean, I'm sure that there are methods, and with these many fucking cameras as there are in the city, it's probably fairly easy, but why are we worried about that right now?
Don't you think it's convenient that Damian calls us and we get into a car accident where the guy hits us and hits us just in the area where we're drawing the most attention? Isn't that a little convenient?
I'm all for being paranoid. But at the same time, he was just an idiot and did something he wasn't supposed to do. And this isn't going to hold us up too long as long as we can get the fuck out of here, which means we have to get Miriam and we have to go.
Do you think we can create a distraction and then get her the hell out of here?
We shouldn't call any more attention to ourselves, but let's go over to Miriam and Aaron and see if she's ready to go. We'll leave the car, I guess.
Every time we do this, something bad happens. But okay. He walks her over to where Miriam and Aaron is. Sits her
We
down.
definitely have to go. I'm starting to hear the sirens. We have to be out of here.
Will be. Just another moment more. She'll finish up and toss her bag back in her car and... Alright, we're good.
And just kind of in the midst of this small cluster of howdy neighbor that he's gathered up. Oh, okay, time to go. From his
I think so.
his use of not really trying to shout to everyone around him that they're trying to head out, so he's still using double talk to communicate that particular message to Miriam.
In the grand scheme of things, in the grand royal scheme of things, you all have graphically, tragically, time and again been the victims of fate's most unkind hand. Time and again, small details, small truths that you wouldn't quibble over have come back to haunt you, to bite you in the ass, to cause you all to stumble along your way and along your path. This is not one of them. Somehow, in the rash of being on center stage, with people misremembering and seeing what they saw and pointing in the direction of which you went, leaves everyone flummoxed. Even the folks who were up on the balconies and remember, you're taking off that way. You guys were clearly going southbound. No, they were clearly going northbound. I was down on the ground. I literally took a picture of their license plate. Oh my God. No, you weren't. You were taking a picture of the wrong car. Those were the people from the Scientology. No, those people left 3 years ago. No, they didn't. They're still right down there. Those aren't Scientologists. They're Dianetics people. Isn't it the same thing? No, one of them have a lot of money and the other ones don't. But didn't they all start by L. Ron Hubbard? Yes, but no. Scientology was an older religion. But when it started by L. Ron Hubbard, they were influenced by his works. And no, that was the one that was based on John Smith and Zeno. No, I thought that was the Mormons. No, those are the Hebrew Israelites. No, they're the Mormons. No, those are the Scientologists. No, what about the people that do Dianetics? It's part of Scientology. Wait, so L. Ron Hubbard did start it? No, that's the one with Zeno, based off of his works. Conversations abound. You are still the center of their gossip mill. You are still the bit of excitement. You are still very much the tale told hundreds of different ways. Yeah, but then there was this huge football-sized black guy. Like, he was like Refrigerator Perry, but with muscles. No, that wasn't him. That was the white guy. No, that guy had a beard like Grizzly Adams. Grizzly who? Okay, boomer. But what about the doctor? Like the Dr. Quinn, medicine woman? No, she wasn't even a woman. That was a guy who used to be a model in Cuba. How do you know that? Because I was talking to the Asian guy who had the kufi. But I thought the kufi were for the Muslims. No, you can be Muslim and not be black. What about the little girl with the pigtails? That wasn't a girl with pigtails. That was the guy. Oh. Well, who had the red hair? You know what? I forget which one had the red hair.
I like to think that there has never been so much turmoil in this cul-de-sac than after we leave.
Right.
Neighbors taking arms against neighbors. It was a cold winter morning when my neighbor down the hall, we no longer spoke after the incident there at the intersection of the Six Corners. That wasn't even at the intersection. Okay, fine. It was halfway down the block, but still. Can I tell my story? No, you're getting it wrong. Heading south along Lincoln, you all fingers crossed back in the vehicle and making your way there. There is a general murmur of paranoia. There is very much the how fucking lucky you are, because as you all make the left-hand turn on Greenview, literally as you make the left-hand turn on Greenview, coming west across Berry are an ambulance and a fire truck, and coming south down Lincoln are 2 police squad cars.
Just very deeply sized, just a oh fuck. I never want to have to do that again.
It wasn't that
I don't know what
bad.
you're talking about. I had a great time.
My social battery is more or less spent, and we haven't even gotten to the stressful part.
No, you haven't. Because the truth of the matter is, there are, for those of us who are paranoid, there are only 2 reasons to ever be invited to another kindred's haven. And if you don't know which of the 2 you are about to be victim to, it is probably the former. And that's plausible deniability for the exsanguination of your continued existence. Not paranoid or anything. But it has very much been the case. God knows everyone who's visited your domain under pretenses that you all weren't prepared for. 99% of them cease to be.
Oof. Alright, so I guess we pay more attention to the road.
I think so. That would be a good idea.
I'll keep an ear out, see what gets spread about, and if there's anything I need to stymie. I don't think that we should be seeing any police roll up on the shelter for this particular matter, he says very quickly with a kind of just, I know we tend to have fuck-ups kind of tone to his voice.
Oh, we should be quite fine.
Yeah. How far are we out from the meeting point?
36 seconds.
Okay. Last second thoughts, comments, concerns.
Don't get
Well, I
dead.
think we should listen before we say anything.
Awesome.
And that way we'll know what it is, and then we can make a decision at that point.
Hey, when we get out of here, do you think I can pick up a snack or something? He says, his pallor just
We can
somewhat.
try.
Yeah, he's very much got the I need to scratch my itch kind of body language going on. Lightly right now, but it is there. Alright, well, let's hope this gets over with quick then.
Indubitably. As you all find far too easy parking as you make that second left off of Greenview into the alley space. On the front side of the building, which always amazes you that that's the actual front, it looks approachable. It is a 3-story, 2 above ground oblong rectangle. It's not even a full rectangle because the building actually has 5 sides. But for the most part, it is just a solid block. It is a bunker, if you're being perfectly honest. Brick walls all around. You're sure that the roof, of course, has been reinforced, even though you know, well, those of you who have been dealing with Damian long enough to actually be on singular basis, not Sheriff Damian, but just Damian, know that the roof has a patio for smoking and taking in the sights, because from its rooftop, you can stare north along Greenview and take in the view of nearly the entirety of the neighborhood. Across the alley from it, however, the view of Lincoln is blocked by the 4 and 5 story tall buildings that, you know, have the condos and their own building associations and what have you. So you can't see Lincoln per se. You can see all of the little hidey holes and pass-throughs between the buildings, but Lincoln is blocked from you. It's completely ensconced. It's out of view. Greenview being quiet and tree-lined and filled with the freestanding condos and homes going east along Fletcher and Berry, and the causeway between Fletcher and Berry, which no one has bothered to name because, well, who names an alley, even though it is a major thoroughfare? Because it is literally one of the most well-traveled, beautiful, spacious back alleys that you've seen. Everything is neat and put away and squared away as if, you know, they're expecting guests. Every home and condo that abuts that alley is made for receiving guests. You can pull in, you can park, you can grill. There's further down, there's a family that's been in on that block for at least 20, 25 years who have set up not just a play place for the children, but a full-fledged bar for friends. So depending on the evening, you could walk that alley and grab you a nice cold Bud or Miller, or God forbid that piss swill that comes out of Goose Island. But it doesn't have a name. It's just, in the local parlance, the alley. Everybody's trotting, everybody's walking, everybody walks their dogs up and down it. Everybody stops and hangs at one gate or another, talking to one neighbor or another. And for those of you amongst the coterie who are paranoid, you realize that it's so counterculture to the rock punk musician that Damian is, that it has to be a purpose why he chose, when his office was moved and when he took the position as sheriff, why he chose this area. The security of it always seemed questionable. Everyone's always in everyone else's business. Everyone is aware of things that are happening 1, 2, 3 blocks over. Everyone's extraordinarily friendly, unlike what's expected. And then you have the fact that that alley connects with another alley that leads to Fletcher and then back over to Southport, where they're on the corner of Shuba's, which is a local rock mecca. They put on live shows 6 of the 7 nights of the week. Sometimes they have bands from as far away as LA, as far east as New York, and all the places north and south along and across the Mason-Dixon. It is a mecca for live bands in the area to play for a smaller, more intimate venue. It's the sort of place where strangers aren't strange. They don't stand out. You can have all sorts of meetings and no one will pay any attention whatsoever, as long as you have a cigarette or a vape for whoever happens to ask.
So, I suppose I'll just, as the figurehead of the group, I'll just back up Hestia and take my role as decoration.
Theo fades all the way to the back, just so that he can see who's coming and going. Keep a nice distance from, like, make sure everyone keeps a distance from us, and make sure that, and actually look around to see if anyone's watching us that's like out of the ordinary.
Okay, so you're keeping an eye out for dirty stares.
Yes.
Miriam will just walk with Hestia.
And I suppose I'll join Theo in the looking for people who specifically look like they're about to start a fight type dealio. The less watching for hidden threats and more reading the people around us.
There's a psychological affliction that most people suffer from. It's always feeling as if you're on center stage. It's always feeling as if you're being watched and cataloged and evaluated. It's as if there's a spotlight always on you. Everyone has it to varying degrees. In most situations, it is all in your head. In most situations, the average person is more caught up in what's going on in their own phone, mind, earpiece, or just simply disassociating with the world around them. That, in fact, is not the case. Presently, you all are on center stage. As you all make your way into the building, Damian's recording studio, his business, and the office of the sheriff. As the kindred as a whole are the invisible nation behind much of the world's happenings. There are certain security measures and precautions that are in place, one of which is that no one enters this building unwatched. The neighborly community that abuts the space and is all around it are part of that actual security. Disturbances in the force and the fabric and tapestry of the neighborhood are things that people notice and catalog. There's a phone tree. Well, to be more accurate, there's a text tree. There's a neighborhood, the neighborhood app where people post and monitor and comment on. Yeah, there were raccoons there the other day. Oh yeah, I saw those bats. I cleared those out, but we gotta worry about the wasps that are over there, not far from Shubas. You know that third house, the blue one? Yeah, it's that sort of interwoven web of constant surveillance and information passed one phone, one mouth, one ear down the line. It's only as you all bother to spend a few pulse-pounding moments realizing how interwoven that web of security is that you all are in fact on Front Street, that it begins to settle that despite all of Damian's laissez-faire, that there's a mind at work to hide right underneath everyone's nose what's actually going on.
Yeah. Very much gives the idea of two different cities overlaid over one another. What's seen and what's there, you know?
So, and it explains a little bit as to how he can remain so securely invisible and so easily accessible under most situations. Because nothing is ever what it looks like and is always what it doesn't seem to be. So a demand is probably actually a request. A request is most definitively a demand. The or else is always there without ever needing to be spoken. And as you all enter, unlike Kesha, who's been here countless times before, unlike Aaron, who has been here countless times before, the usual assortment of hangers on, the bands waiting for playtime, the other members of Baby Chorus who are there warming up or practicing, the assortment of people that are normally here where you all have to sneak off to one of the recording booths or have to sneak off to one of the producing booths to speak in all due privacy are not here. There's seldom, when entering the studio, which is what the entirety of the building is, where it is quiet. You don't hear the electric buzz of microphones or the backfeed of speakers. You don't hear the techs and producers and arrangers, and it's to drive home the point. As silent as a tomb. It is like all of those movies and books and TV shows. Right when someone says something so stupid as it's quiet, it's too quiet, you realize it exactly as that. It literally is too quiet. Door closing, the latch catching behind you. Sounds like jail cells closing. The clink of iron on iron. The echo of hope evaporating. It's what it feels like.
I imagine, just really quickly, just for context here, I imagine we disarmed ourselves before coming in here, correct, gentlemen? Probably won't get brought up, but just in case it does, it's...
Damian knows I don't go anywhere without my knives. Tough titty. If he wants them, he'll ask for them.
Weapon, so
Okay, alright, so it's one of those keep our weapons on us until asked type deals.
You say that like Miriam has a weapon.
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, no, back to what you were about to say, Hess. I'm sorry for interrupting you there.
It's fine. It's just, again, I don't like the fact that it's appropriate, but it feels like somebody just walked across my grave.
Nah, don't worry about that. Half of us have got fake graves anyways. What was that, Theo?
Storyteller, is there any cameras or any electronic devices that Theo can make out while he's in this room?
Well, it's a building, and yes, the moment that you walk in the door, there's a good old-fashioned, big, heavy-duty, dumb camera pointed towards the door. And by dumb camera, what that means, it's not one of the modern last 5-10 year high-tech number that's wireless and everything goes up to the cloud to be intercepted or dispersed and sent through various signals. There's no connection to a Wi-Fi of any sort. It's a dumb camera. All of its wires are running through the roof somewhere or down into the floor beneath you and running along with coaxials plugged into some set of devices somewhere hidden out of the way probably a broom closet or such. You're sure that there's some old magnetic videotape collecting the information somewhere in the building.
Not for judging, guys, but does this feel right to you guys?
No. But it's Damian. Look.
But something feels really wrong here. I can't put my finger on it.
Does fucking shot in the dark here, does Sense the Unseen give me anything particularly nutty?
What's the total of your wits and aspects?
Only 3, champ.
Nope.
Alright. Yeah, I mean, a little chill in the air, but beyond that, it's kind of just looks around. Not too off. Anybody else?
It feels like it's like a ball gag that's 2 sizes too small.
I hate that analogy.
So that means that you can scream around it. Your teeth biting into far too far forward on the catch, causing it to dig into the edges of your mouth. You feel it there, sitting on top of your tongue instead of sitting at the edge of your mouth just before your teeth. Instead of being affixed to keep you firmly able to only grunt and nod, you're able to get words out past it because it doesn't fill the space as it should. It's the sort of thing that's more annoying than inhibitive, which is not its purpose. It's not supposed to be annoying. It's supposed to be inhibitive. It's supposed to add to your sense of control. You being controlled. Your ability to connect with the world around you. And yet, you are able to toy with it, move your tongue around it, get words out past it. Muffled some, mumbled mostly, but still able to get words around it as it digs further into the corners of your mouth. Unnecessary pain and tearing. And in tearing, you're able to, in fact, communicate. As you all make your way through the building, rounding one corner and then the next, finding yourself not at one of the recording studios, or specifically the recording studio where Damian and Baby Chorus like to practice and warm up, and the processing booth where you all are able to sit and talk in peace. No, there's an actual office that Damian has here on these premises. Mostly it's used by his managers and attendants who are literally working for him as the owner of the building and then the leader of the band. But in this case, his office is used by him solely in this moment, because as you all round the corner and still the place is as quiet as the grave, as still as a tomb. There's not one click, clack, clack of step along the polished floors. There's not the sound of someone warming up or warming down. There's no one doing voice exercises. There is literally no living sound in the building save your traveler along the floor. In the office. Go on.
It just kind of to Theo. You know, actually, as we get deeper in here, I'm starting to feel this fucked up sensation more and more. Just keep your eyes open, I guess.
Okay, so I got an idea. I don't know if this will work, but why don't do you guys think that I should take point?
What do you mean?
Because I'm thinking that if Damian could just be sitting in his office watching TV, for all we know. He could be watching anime. Or something bad could happen. And I'm thinking that it probably would behoove us to have someone moving like ahead of everybody else, just in case, like, we're not all caught on camera if something bad is ahead of us. I just have a really bad feeling that something's weird happening.
Looks over to ask you, you okay with him going ahead, or would that cause issues?
Thing is, I'm typically the face of the shelter, so I should be first. And I'm not particularly worried that something's going to go horribly wrong, because if it's going to, it's going to. We're already in the devil's den, so it is what it is. But he can stand right behind me just in case.
Fair enough. I could do that.
Alright. Well then, let's follow through.
And away we go.
You all make your way there. It seems like it takes forever. It seems like it took longer than your travel from the Haven here. The sheer lack of the usual room sounds, the sheer overwhelming lack of any other person, meaning that there aren't any living witnesses. It's troubling. Damian is normally very careful in regards to relaying information. He's there, but he never is. There are witnesses around for safety and maintenance of the masquerade, but there aren't ever any. You're never really ever alone with him. Theo's been alone with him once or twice here and there, and of course Hestia has had several moments alone with just him through various reasons, and Aaron has dealt with the sheriff honorably and relatively alone, even though there's a crowd, 5, 10, 15 feet off. You've all had private moments with him, but each and every one of those moments that have come, there have been other people in the offing. There have been people in the background. There have been people moving past you, waiters and servers offering you drinks or questioning his age. But alone. 4 of you all together alone with the sheriff without any witnesses or any opportunities to perhaps create a diversion and escape is a troubling thing, because at the end of the day, Damian still is the sheriff, and without a scourge, without Alexa being present, he is the arbiter of your fate. He is the only kindred in the entirety of Chicago that carries the full weight of execution from the prince. The seneschal, of course, being the other, but the seneschal doesn't actually execute anyone. The seneschal, for all of his nebbishness, it has a keen mind. It's the threat more than the actual action that he carries. Damian, however, just like the prince himself, is a survivor of the wars of the Red Moon. He has killed Kindred, Lupine, Elder, and survived. He has fought tooth and claw with the Sabbat, the full sword of pain, leveled at the heart of the capital of the Camarilla on the contiguous United States shores. And he is still here to tell the tale. Without witnesses or divergence or reason to hold back, just calling it what it is. There's a considerable weight in that. in front of humans, in front of mortals, in front of crowds, within earshot of them, there's always the real, very real fact that he is always more cultured. He's always more held back. He's always more cognizant of utilizing the full strength of his blood. Not so with there being not a singular witness. And as you all open the door to his office, while the paranoia comes to an end, to see him healthily, happily sitting there at his desk, scrolling through paper after paper, double checking something in the Rolodex, and he looks up and waves you all in, looking to the left on that comfortable leather couch that you've all sat on at one point or another. It breaks your heart. Just sitting on that couch is your good friend and associate, Bill Hickok.
Oh, motherfucker.
Adding insult to injury, to Bill's left, sitting on the stool, just at the 45 degrees from behind the door, because the door opens into the room to the left, sitting there, absently staring up at the ceiling, is Evan Klein, the new residing Primogen of the Malkavians. You all realize that it's not going to be just the four of you, that it will in fact be one of the members of Baby Chorus, i.e. the Primogen of the Malkavians. And Bill, things take a turn mentally. The fact that Damian is sitting with actual paperwork, not the little police-style notepad that you've seen him whip out of his back pocket here and there, not a photo or two, not a strange manila folder, but actual reams and reams of paper with notes and various things that he's double checking and verifying. Feeling. Did you all realize what this may be, what this might be, the reason why you all are here? It is exactly 4 after the hour. Let's be back here at 14 after.
Let's see.
Why, hello.
Well, hello? Hello, hello? It seems Craig did not enjoy the break.
It did not.
Like,
But we're back.
enjoyed-
Yeah. And his twin Griok is far worse, but we are here now. Has everyone returned?
Maybe.
I'm here.
Yep.
Oh, looks like it. Hestia just unmuted, said nothing, and then remuted, so. It's like popping up the signal flare.
I said yep.
I don't know, I didn't hear anything. So, perception is reality, and because I didn't perceive it, it never happened. Hestia.
Don't you understand? The lights of Rohan are lit.
Yes, it's gone to a cosplay!
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Or in the words of the more promiscuous of us, fuck those guys.
I mean, you got the inflection all wrong.
It's okay. I've never been good at come-ons.
Well, now, let's get our minds and other parts out of the gutter. When we stepped away, the coterie, having arrived at Damian's studio, the entire building, which is his studio, and having diagnosed the actual security that abounds and sets the boundary of his immediate haven's domain, have entered his office to find Bill, to find Evan, to find Damian, and no one else. And Damian stops rifling through notes. And the conversation, which had clearly ended long enough ago for Damian to cross-reference and cross-check bits of this and bits of that, starts up again as Bill stands up. Well, hey, partner, how y'all doing? Come on in and get settled. I've just been talking to Damian here about our coteries business. I want to make this nice and official for him and Evan, for us. Damian, you know Hestia and Aaron, their do boy Theo, and their mouthpiece man. And I know I ain't supposed to talk about it, but I also know about y'all business with he who shall not be named, Fresh Striker. So this is to make things more, I don't know, because you know me, Damian, I ain't very sensitive about all that much all fired. But I think that we should probably do this the right way. Don't y'all agree? We should keep things legitimate and above board.
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Who's coterie?
Coterie. Shelter.
I'm shelter. Aaron's part of the shelter. Miriam's part of the shelter. Theo hasn't got there yet. You not part of the shelter no more. Remember, you left us.
Small respite. I had some things that needed to be properly taken care of. But again, those are behind us, and I wanted to make sure that we made things official so that there was no and is no doubt, especially with our honored guest, the Primogen of the Malkavians here. Because, well, ain't my place to say. We ain't gonna air no dirty laundry of ours out here. Because Damian's a friend and our boss as hounds. But I think that certain things should probably be discussed otherwise, because they're not exactly official. And I don't think we really want to make them official either. Unless, of course, Miriam, with your little things that you've been doing, do you want to make that official? You want to establish distance between us? Or you want to just roll that into things that we ain't going to speak on?
Kind of just gives Miriam the do you care look.
Miriam is just going to arch an eyebrow at him.
Let's see. This
I'm
is
a
a shakedown. That's what the fuck this is.
No, don't get so worked up about it. It ain't all that. It is, however, because of what we have been through and our last conversation that I must apologize, I think got a little bit out of hand.
A little out of hand.
A little bit. Not all that much, because you know how we do things. You know, we like a family.
Okay, I think this needs to be set out straight end of it, because looks over to Damian. I'm sorry, bud. I'm not here to walk in and get subtly threatened by somebody. Looks back to Clint. If Hestia says you're not a part of us, you're not a part of us.
Well, I was hoping that it wouldn't come to that, but it wasn't no threat now. This wasn't no threat. This was to make official where we are and what we are, considering that my other business has concluded and I am once more available duty. And I aim, well, I was hoping we'd be a little more cordial than that. But if that is not an option, I understand.
What we are is on neutral ground. What we are, as far as I'm aware, can be changed in the future based on the present actions. And saying, let's be familiar, or I'm going to air all of your grievances, not exactly a very positive present action.
Oh no, not all your grievances. I wouldn't dare think of doing that. After all, we are family, or we were family, and there's some respect there. What I meant in regards to what I said, and what I didn't say, and what I wouldn't think about saying, are all separate things. What I was going to say is, in terms of things that we need to talk about separately, is very much that matter of the Alphonse and Alphonse legal outfit that's been represented in the shelter. What I was going to touch on were the two shelters that are opening down the street at Loyola and across the street from that punk bar. And what I was going to touch on, and then he looks directly at Evan and back to you all, is, well, Damian, you know that we are responsible for the disappearance of Newberry. And while it has been swept under the rug and carpet because of your efforts and your support, I think it's time that we address that in a way that makes sure that all parties that might have a grievance are taken care of. I think, being as they don't want to take responsibility for it, I guess that leaves it all up to me, and I will gladly assume my position as your hound and act as a temporary scourge until the whereabouts and the safety of Miss Santos can be verified.
Look, Champ, you are taking a lot of things. First, you tried to take the name of the coterie under yourself, and now, without even Damian saying so, you're trying to take not only the title of Hound, but effectively that of the Scourge. I don't believe anyone in my group, never said we wouldn't handle an issue that Damian needs handled.
So are you saying that you would gladly step forward and be the responsible party for all of the necessary endings that are on the schedule according to Primogen Council, who have handed down several issues of investigation that may and usually will result in the death of certain kindred? If that's what you're saying, I will gladly remove my hat from the ring, as it were, and I will step back and let you all handle it as the shelter, which doesn't pertain to me in the least, considering that's what you've all said. I was attempting to help and to assist, but if I am not needed, Damian, I will gladly leave you all to it, and I'm sorry for sticking myself out here, but yes, you heard, Aaron is willing to be your scourge. Y'all have a good night.
You know, kind of densely bumps into Hestia, like, is this dude for real?
He's very much for real.
All right.
He is very much attempting to be the fox in the hen house.
Who has either an intelligence or wits plus politics of at least 4?
Hey,
that would be Theo, oddly enough.
Yeah, and Aaron's on
Yes, depends on how you.
that. Please don't tell me this guy was specifically
We are at
goading me to
5.
take this position.
He literally, in front of a member of the Primogen Council, got you all to say that he was not connected with shelter.
To
He
us.
literally, in front of a member of the Primogen Council, got you all to say that you would either individually or as a group assume the responsibilities of Alexis Santos, the unspoken scourge, until she is found. He literally got whatever was hanging over his head laid on your plate.
Cool. No, I didn't get punked. You kidding me? I got a new title. What do new titles come with if not fun and responsibilities? You can't have one without the other, and I am anything but disappointed with the notion that I now get to sanctioned kill Kindred. I'm a Badu Hakim. This is basically my wet dream. Thank you, Theo. And he just kind of, as he finishes his little ramble, and he's like, "Oh well, these guys are gonna take it all." He looks over to Hess, and he goes, "Is that something we're willing to take on?"
I mean, it's what we've been doing, so I don't know how much more different it could be than what we've been doing. But apparently, there's something else going on that we're skirting around, and she looks towards Bill. You don't get to leave yet. We got some questions.
Oh no, I don't think we do. We ain't family no more, and this does not pertain to me. This is Hound and Scourge business. Unless, of course, you're asking me to stay and bear witness, I will gladly assist my Primogen council member and my sheriff in every way that I can. Damian, Evan, pardon me for using y'all full name, y'all Christian name. Is it all right if I continue sitting in, even though I am not part of any way, shape, fashion, or form a member of the shelter? You've all seen Damian defer to very few people, one-on-one. You've seen Damian go along with the flow more often than not, but without deferring to anyone. Yet, as Bill talks, he looks towards Evan, who shrugs and nods. And then Damian motions for Bill and you all to take seats.
Alright. Well then, with that handled, Aaron says as he walks over and finds himself somewhere comfortable to sit. Care to explain what that whole pony show was about? He gestures
No.
toward the plan.
Damian literally responds, "No, I'd rather not. I really would rather not. But," and then he looks towards Evan, who looks at each of you all and reaches under the bar stool and puts on the fedora that's sitting there. It's a short brim, haze-lead, purple, blue, pink, and yellow fedora. It's only as he puts it on his head that you realize that his ensemble, the cerulean blue of his shirt, the brocaded purple in his waistcoat, the strangely pinkish light pulp of his slacks, all in one shape, fashion, or form, coordinate with the hat. Color, the hue, the contrast. At the moment the hat goes on and obfuscates his eyes, casting his brow in a little bit of a shadow, he leans forward on the stool. See here, hip cats, this is the problem. This is the situation that we find ourselves in. Now, you understand that this goes back generations, even. Maybe a month, two. Maybe decades. Maybe back to the wars. All of the wars. But the hip cats and kittens, we all were doing our own thing during that time, and we didn't pay attention to signs that were written on the wall by someone's dirty hands. everyone tried to keep their plates clean. That ain't what happened. Now is it? No, that ain't what happened. The city has a million stories, and most of them get ignored. Picture taken here, phrase said there. It goes unnoticed. Just like all of the lives under your authority. All of the humans and mortals that you all take care of night after 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 night. And while you all are busy running to and fro from one church to the next, trying to figure out who's going to baptize you the best and in what fluid, there's been something going on the back end that Bill has managed to bring to our attention as a member of the community. While you've all been running from church to church, getting baptized in all sorts of fluids and body matters, Bill has been keeping an ear to the ground and keeping us aware as to what's going down. And what's going down is, fortunately, there's no reason, there's no rhyme why we should allow the blood trade to be outside of our control. Especially when it turns up that they have ties and connections and associations with the churches. That's what you want to call them. Churches. Yeah, churches. They've been cropping up, causing problems. So Bill, being the upstanding member of the community that he was, brought this before the Primogen, and there is a plan in place. Comes down to you all acting as scourge. It comes down to some brave kindred willing to take the risk for the entirety of the community so that the Primogen Council can control the blood trade. We don't. There are rumors, prophecies, if you will, that some non-local rows and their tentacles like eye would crawl and wriggle into control. You've all already seen those bottles floating around. The reports from across the border. The brew. That's getting a name for itself. That's challenging the blood trade because it's unregulated. And we're not getting our cut. We're not getting the slice. The Hakata are cornering the market right beneath our current blood czar. And that can't be allowed. The Hakata already have too much power to ignore. We can't let them take over as they've been doing. And the only way to make sure that that doesn't happen is by controlling the blood trade, by taking out the blood czar so that we can assume network ourselves. And we need good upstanding soldiers to do the deed. And thanks to your volunteering, that's exactly what you guys are going to do. Simple, isn't it? You guys are going to make sure that the blood czar, the network of the blood trade, is firmly in the hands of the Primogen Council of Chicago. At which point we'll appoint a proxy leader, manager that answers directly to us.
Aaron, having effectively heard that they're asking them to kill Saf, just kind of sideways glances to Hestia.
So what you're saying to me, I'm going to get this straight. Y'all done lost your rabbit ass mind. Wow.
No, chickadee, that's not exactly what's been communicated. We never had rabbit minds to begin with. Most of the Primogen are thinkers. And you know what thinkers do? They think lots and lots and lots. And they get very little done. That's what the hounds are for. That's what the sheriff is for. That's specifically what the scourge is for. To do the things that need doing. And unfortunately, and then he stops and looks at Bill. Then to Damian. I know where the bodies. I know where the ashes have been sprinkled. I know where the shadows are at their deepest, and why the rose bushes grow so deep and bright and beautiful in certain places. And I don't want to bring this before the fullness of the Primogen Council. I don't want to make this a public spectacle, because there's a cost for doing business. And while you've all escaped, and managed to not be a victim of the responsibilities of your actions, secrets only grow when they're not shared. And this hasn't been shared in a very long while. This hasn't been spoken by you all except for in your dream. This hasn't been mentioned. I'm not sure even all of you are aware as to what happened. Bill has an inclination, or had an inclination, or had a thought, or might have been there. It's hard to say. People lie. Kindred lie better. But I know. I know.
All right.
Get a reprieve from your searching for salvation. Help us to help the city. And all your present sins will be given. At which point he stands, takes off the fedora, and literally crosses himself in nomine patri filii sancti. Solution. The acceptance of that we are all sinners, that we have all sinned, but even us sinners, each and every last one of us sinners, can be forgiven for the past actions if this action is taken, if this action is completed, if this action is used as sacrifice to cleanse in blood all of those past transgressions of doing and watching being done and allowing things to be done and sitting and watching and experiencing the filth of our those lost screaming in the dark, like librarians or professional amateur football players who have a fetish for AIDS, like a professor, like a waif, like a magistrate with potential, dealer of cards, cars, and managers of nightclubs, like groundskeepers, cooks, like students, like family. Or we can just roll our dice and take our chances.
I. There's no wiggle room on this. You know that they have, and he kind of gestures towards Hess and Miriam, good relations with the current Blood Tsar. There's no openness towards a particularly peaceful discussion with this. As far as I'm aware, your issue is with the Hekata moving in on the blood trade, and you not having direct and solidified control over it. That doesn't require killing and usurping the assets of who's currently there. If anything, that would destabilize the whole thing more, in my mind.
Are you telling me to tell you how to do what is requested?
No, I'm
If you are, I'm
simply
listening.
asking questions.
I would love to know. How would you go about making sure that the third most powerful Toreador in the entirety of the region willingly hands over the full authority and control of something that's taken them 40 years to build? Are you saying you have that ability? You have that
I'm
strength?
asking if that is a possibility that you and the Primogen Council are open to.
I'm open to far more than you think. The other night, I says to myself, and of course, as every good person does, myself answers, yes, self. Is there a limit? Self. And myself responds, depends on what you define as limit. Is at the beginning or the end? And it doesn't matter where along the spectrum it exists, because limit is solely something that exists within one's self. But as myself was talking to self, the idea of limitations.
He's been watching
Not getting
Damian this
anything.
whole time.
Yeah, sorry, what did you say, Hess?
Hess has been watching Damian this whole time. She's listening to Evan, but she's looking at Damian.
Yeah, not having gotten any productive context out of that, he'll just give a quick glance around the room and a help me question on his face before looking back and just
See,
what was that, Miriam?
I don't know much. But one thing I did learn from Mean Girls is the limit does not exist.
Okay, I'm going to take creative liberties here and assume that you are saying so long as your ultimate goal is accomplished, you don't give a fuck how it's done.
Oh, I care. I always care. Are you telling me how to tell you to do what I need you to do so that we can achieve what we have spied as the greatness of this all?
Respectfully, sir, no. I believe that we can accomplish our goals. I'd like to do this with as little resentment as possible.
Resentment? No one that dies resents the living. They might be jealous. They may be avaricious. They may be hanging around like dancers in the dark, beating like Edgar Allan Poe's telltale heart. But they're not resentful. Jealous, maybe, potentially, possibly. Last spirit I talked to wasn't very jealous at all. It was actually quite angry. Quite angry that you all allowed him to kill and did nothing until it was too late. You watched. You ignored. And he was honest with you all. But enough about Clyde. I don't know many resentful spirits. Jealous. Angry. But never resentful. I think that's too complicated of an emotion for spirits. Which is funny, considering that anger is technically a secondary emotion. Anger is prompted by fear, frustration, annoyance. But it's the easier thing to latch onto, because once you're angry, it doesn't really matter what got you there. It's like getting in a boat, where you walk up a gangplank, you climb up a rope, you climb up an anchor, you drill a hole and swim up through. And none of that really matters. You're just on the ship, and nothing's better than boats and hoes, right?
Absolutely.
My problem with all of this so far is every time we get told, oh, all your sins will be forgiven. Oh, we won't bring it up any longer. It's all forgotten and forgot about. You don't owe us anything else. Yet again, some shit comes up and it's, oh, don't forget we know all your fucking secrets and you're gonna be punished if you don't do what the fuck we said.
Well, understand it. I'm so proud of you. Bill wasn't sure that you'd actually ever really get it. He wasn't sure that you'd actually get it. He wasn't sure that you were understanding enough to really grasp the situation. He, in fact, said that he'd do it all himself and take the blame and responsibility and the accolades, unless, of course, you guys stepped in. But now that you did step in, he specifically thought that it would be you, Hestia. You're like, Hestia's not going to let me do this by myself. Hestia's caring. Hestia's understanding. Hestia's my mommy dummy. She's like the mini Mighty Mouse of the shelter. She would be the one willing to bear the responsibility of all of the death. Lo and behold, we got you, Aaron. You did it. I didn't think that you. And then he looks at you, Hestia. We'll replace Lucio so efficiently. But you did, and I'm very glad. I like this bloodthirsty one. And then he stares at Theo. Not sure about that bloodthirsty one. He just doesn't have the skills or talent yet, but it's there. It's seething, quietly beating against the back. He has secondhand blood on him. He tell you about the people he killed? No, I'm sure you guys talk about that all the time. Like you guys lay on your stomach, spinning the bottle, kicking your legs in the air, holding your chin with both hands, talking about all the lives you all have ruined. Why did you have to do that to Lolly? I mean, take care of this. And with me, at least. I don't know who knows what about whom, when, what you all did. But with me, this is a dead matter. I won't ever hold anything else near your head. Unless, of course, you ask. Right, Miriam? It's all about the consent. It's all about the yes, or no, or maybe, or the tease, the little tickler rolling across the skin.
She will just smirk a little bit.
Just kind of quietly to Hess, just, we doing this? Seems like even if we don't, somebody's gonna have to.
Rock me at hard place. That's where the fuck we're at right now. Yeah, I guess we're doing this.
At least it'll be with friends.
Great, I'll go get my flogger.
Bill chimes in. See, it's all about family. While every other kindred has something, Hestia and the shelter, they got family.
The expression Aaron wears as he turns over to Clint, it's not kind. As he just, my fuse with you is very short right now, given the shit that you have pulled in the very limited amount of time that I've known you.
Well,
I'm gonna politely ask that, unless it's something constructive, Keep it to yourself.
Well, friend, I suppose we got us a game we need to play. Being as you are tired of this game, the game of intelligence, I didn't think that I disliked you as much as I do. But now, I am absolutely positive. I loathe you. I don't think you bring what Hestia assumes you bring. I don't think that you are what Hestia assumes you to be. And being as you have the position that was destined for me once I wrap my other business, I see you as a roadblock to my continued happiness. And so that we are clear, if the chance should ever present itself, when more than just your sense of self, I will gladly do so, being as not once, twice now. You have insinuated that you have a problem with me, sir, and I've been trying so very hard to keep all of the negative feelings that I have about your face to myself. And twice too often. But this is not my haven. This is not your haven. It would be disrespectful of me to put you in your place, as I'm sure that doing so would be quite bloody and painful. I would not cherish the idea of creating an enmity between us. Damian, I like you a lot. I love what you've done for the city. And the fact that you were even able to help individuals who don't deserve your good favor up into a position where they might better spit in your face.
He just, as that finishes up, I'm not a man who likes to make threats. I'm not a man who likes to do things for the sake of appearances. So I'm going to say this as succinctly as I can, and as clearly as I can. It will be quick, and you will not see it coming.
Well, friend, I look forward to the game that we are engaged in. The outcome, I am sure, will not be what you expect. Damian, keep the pace, as it were. Would you mind if I skedaddle? Lest the laws of comity will cause you to violate the laws of hospitality and put this young upstart in his place. After all, he is not even a full member of the coterie that stands before you. Not even a former member such as myself. And he has leveled threats, shaded and hidden though they are. And it is clear that we don't get along at all. Would it be so kind of you to allow me to leave so that I don't lay an ambush for you? Damian clearly over the shit. Squeezes the bridge of his nose.
Want to hang with us?
Oh, no, let him do this bit. This is Damian.
Hang with you all? No, I prefer to hang so singly, as every good gangster of old once did. Every good cowboy hang by themselves, even if it was a group of us. But y'all no longer want my services. I am no longer family, and this young upstart, this friend of yours, this pal of yours, this lover of yours is not a lover of mine. He does not appreciate my presence. It would be rude to continue forcing it on him. Unless, of course, that's something that he enjoys. Maybe something that you enjoy. You enjoy being forced by another man. Tolerate his presence.
That's funny. I never said anything ill will towards you, and yet you attack me. That's odd.
No, he's talking about me, Theo.
No, actually, he just said you forcing yourself upon me. That was directed directly towards me.
Only incidentally, it was a question. It is just a question. Do you enjoy that? Is that something that you consider fun, engaging? If it's not, then that's understandable as well. Because I know I would not prefer to be forced upon, or be forced to force myself upon. All of my partners have come willingly.
That's not what I heard, but okay, whatever. I'm not gonna even dignify you because obviously Hestia doesn't like you. Aaron doesn't
Hestia
like you.
loves me. Hestia loves me, or loved me at one point. She may not now. She's got both of y'all to replace me and Marion. Strange bad folks. Strange bad folks.
Actually, I didn't know you enough to like you or dislike you, but you were definitively becoming intolerable, and that's weird because I tolerate the strangest of people.
Look, rather than letting this play out any longer, Damian, can you have permission to leave?
Well, and he looks toward Evan and back to you all. If neither of you have a use for him, yes, he can.
How about useful?
He can leave.
I know you had some questions for him or something.
Sorry. Thing is, I know what you said the last time we saw each other, and I know what you're saying right now and tonight. But I want you to honest and wholeheartedly explain some things to me as to why this is the method and path you decided to take this evening, sir. Why is this the choice that you made? And the things that came out of your mouth, why those things? Because none of them make
Supposed to
any
call
sense.
me. Pastor, you were supposed to call me last night. We were supposed to do business. You were supposed to be there for me as I have been there for you, whether you noticed it or not. That didn't happen. And the only thing that I can assume why that didn't happen is because of the thumbs at Aaron. Looks towards Miriam. Winks at Theo. The only thing that makes sense is because of your new bad partners, your new Coda members, your new replacements for all that was old. That's the only reason why you wouldn't have kept your word and given me a call. Why, you would have been busy gallivanting all over the city. I know I got busy, but I've always kept a shelter in my heart. It's the reason why I ensured that the gangs that were in the neighborhood took the deal you offered, and everybody who stood against you, I made sure that I put a bullet in their soul, that the ones that were left would say yes. And I find that in the time while I've been working, choring, bending everybody to considering your will as important to themselves, both financially and spiritually, for them continued existence. I hear through a second-hand source that you have carved out placements. You know that old saying, if you're important, they'll wait? I thought that I was important. I thought that my efforts were recognized, that they were dealt with, that they were appreciated. And I find that they are not only appreciated, but they are looked down upon. That's hurtful. And even still, even being hurt, I assume and consider that by standing up for you all, once I put two and two together, that I could approach Damian and make our still being family official. That the efforts that I have done would be recognized. That I would be recognized. That I could have my family back. That we could do great business together. Especially in the light of the favors that were called in. I braced and considered making sure that I had a way out. And not only did my way out present itself, but I was but given the bum's rush, as if I don't count, as if all of my efforts of these past few whiles don't amount to a hill of beans. And then you let this mouth, the son of a bitch, put you into a vice. Don't you understand that the Scourge's job is to be invisible, to be the evildoer for the sheriff? The reason why Damian here didn't let Alexis Santos officially become the Scourge and kept her name out of everybody's mouth, so that she could, even though everyone knew what she was doing, continue doing what she was doing without it being the official. And yet you let this bloodthirsty Saracen speak up for y'all in front of that crazy motherfucker right there, so that Damian's hands are all but tied, instead of just simply saying, yes, Bill, come on back home where you belong, where your heart never really left, where your efforts to better ain't really ever been appreciated. But either way, you know me, at least I thought you knew me, and you know that I'm going to survive no matter what. I am going to get through this. And then he looks at Aaron. He may not. Then he looks at Theo. Probably gonna have to place that one. Then he looks at Miriam. I did like your last party. That was a hell of a show. I appreciate that you have more flavors than just vanilla. Why? Just tainted.
Theo clears his throat. Hashtag, can I have a word with you?
I, respectfully to both of you, I think that should wait until after this. He gestures towards Evans and Damian.
Okay. So, in all the things you've said to me just now, in explanation of what all has gone on, what sort of friend or family member brings those that mean harm into a house that they are protecting and causes more harm? Or did you not do that the other night? And as for me missing a phone call to you yesterday, we made no such plans. I can't read your mind, Bill.
I left my card in each one of those gentlemen's bodies. I left my card in each one of those members' pockets so that you could, when you were disposing of them, would easily find my information and have to call the number. After all, you're going to look through their identification if you keep the standards that you did before and pulling all the information out before you toast the bodies. Things done changed, shit. I ain't like that change. I ain't like him balling himself up in front of me, in front of you, making me look bad. You know Miss Rana is one of the leading purchasers of drugs and people on the west side of Chicago. And he's gonna treat her like she his little sister in front of me. I don't appreciate that. And the sort of friend that I am is even years removed from your graces. I've been working to make sure that you get a discount for the protection. I'm making sure that you ain't had no obstacles in your way. I make sure that you have as much peace as I can possibly manage with a little effort.
Now Hessa's rubbing her temples and pinching her nose bridge just like Damian was not that long before now. I don't want this for us. I understand how you feel right now, but you left us and said nothing until you popped back up.
I didn't have a choice.
There's
I
always
didn't
a
leave.
choice.
I left word with Lucio. And I didn't have a choice. You don't understand. As a member of the Capone gang, I swore until final death to be of assistance to them, but I chose y'all.
That's probably why it got lost. Lucio also left and said nothing. So for everybody that keeps saying, he reminds me of Lucio, that must be your Lucio. Fuck that. There is no Lucio.
You mean tell me that you think these two, and well, these three, gonna stick around? He already got one foot out the door. Need private conversations, ain't willing to say what he need to say. Means it ain't true. And him, he just bloodthirsty. He just waiting for their opportunity to unsheath them fangs and get back to his heritage. Pillaging and otherwise forcefully, non-consensually consuming other kindred's vitae.
To be perfectly honest, if you stopped poking the bear, I'd be more than keen on leaving you alone.
Ain't poking the bear, I'm choosing the bear. And I'm much rather choose a bear than... He paused and looked at Miriam. Ma'am, I hate to insult you, but I gotta insult you. You understand that, right? I'm still on the party list, right?
No, Trash Panda, you shouldn't be on it. You should be on a different list.
Now see, that's the spirit. There's the fight. Fight for Hestia as I've always fought for. Let me know that even though I ain't part of the family...
Nothing but been a bane on her existence since you've shown up. Even
I got y'all with blood and donors, and I got you a private meeting with the sheriff. There ain't no other witnesses around, but you all know the dirt that's sitting on your name, and you have the opportunity of squaring it away. I was gonna do it for you, but y'all spoke up, so y'all can go take care of that.
Yeah. In our faces. You
didn't have to catch it.
Trash Panda.
You didn't have to catch it. Ain't you as adults? Ain't you mature kindred? Couldn't you move out the way? If someone pissing, do you want to stand under it or do you move to the side? In my day, when me and Hester ran this little corner of the city, people bent over backwards to help. People broke themselves and died to help. And y'all let her march into what was clearly, obviously a trap. Damian think he's slick. I understand that he's leaving my life and Evan's life over there in your hands. Because ain't not another hound here to enforce his will if he was really going along with this. The whole point is, under the old laws of you all being hounds by extension, under an investigation such as this, with a Primogen member who was stupid enough to come by himself, with no other witnesses and no other person, no other kindred aware that he is here. His person, his future is in your hands. And the only thing you dumb motherfuckers are doing is yelling piss and vinegar at me instead of realizing you all have the power to change everything that stands in your way. He holds the cards. I held some secrets that I shared with you all.
actually threatening a Primogen in front of a Seneschal. That seems pretty bright.
Mind if I get out of here?
At this point, Aaron's just mimicking
Okay.
Damian in the rubbing of the brows.
Bill, we will talk later. As for I'm done questioning. We're good for now. Until we can sort everything out between us.
There's a slight darkness that's wafting off a Theo that you guys never actually seen before. Usually he's always quick with a laugh, quick with a smile. This is definitively a lot darker, whatever it is, just wafting off of him.
Indeed.
Fire enough, hush you. I understand. Thank you, Captain. I'll leave y'all to it. As he saunters out, the chink of his actual spurs heard is appearing down the hall. It's only as he's leaving, and whatever it was that he was saying finally filters through whatever filter and fog is around Evan, that Evan frowns and stands up and looks from you for Damian.
And just as that motion sets in, Aaron's going to give Hestia from using perspective to hide it, just the old gladiatorial neutral thumb, and wait for a yes or a no.
Looks at Damian with a raised brow, like, are we doing this, yes or no?
I gave with you a lot, Evan. We have a lot of good memories, but you, as the responsibilities as a member of the Primogen Council, are not, in fact, still a part of the band. You are not, in fact, still part of our coterie, and they are still hounds. So you taking arms against them is a little bit of an insult. Do you have anything that, like, is there any other way that you've seen this happen? Seen any other way? Because I'm tired. Let's be perfectly honest. Everything that Bill told me checks out. Everything that you said that you're going to essentially threaten them with checks out. There are witnesses, there are statements, there are other investigations that dovetail with. Yeah, Sappho is clearly purposely allowing the market to be watered down, or maybe she's planning something that we are unaware of. Voice is theirs. They've said yes. But what they do here and now, what they choose to agree to and actually carry out, that's for you all to work out. I prefer you all to work it out fairly, finally, definitively, and it's their decision. You understand that? See? It's their decision, but just because they decided, doesn't mean that's what they're going to do. I need to make sure that they understand that there's repercussions to them failing, So I get it, what you're saying, and I know this is all about me turning my back on the band, but how many bands do you really know that needs a bass and a violin? And well, you've all been playing around with emojis after all, and so I'm a little offended. Plus, I got busy. I'm the Primogen for God's sakes, and I fucked over Lolly.
As he's ranting, Hess is going to slowly turn her thumb up, knowing that Aaron was watching. Or is it down?
All right.
Down is the bad, right?
Down is dead. Down is dead.
Okay, we want down.
Up was
Turns
dead.
it down. Down. Down.
Alright. Then, getting his signal, Aaron's gonna stand up and look over to Damian. As it applies to what she's up to. As far as my investigations say, she's building up capital to work as a bank in opposition to Ballard. And he's going to kind of rifle through his leather jacket. I have some notes on it if you want to look at them here, but and as he says he's going to pull out his revolver and bang bang. Not on Damian. I need to clarify that.
You got the drop on Damian. That would have been interesting.
No, God. Ugh. Just very much the holding open the leather jacket with one hand, reaches in. Let me get my notes here. Turns the gun over and just crossfires on him.
As the explosion in the muzzle of the firearm fills the space, is anyone else doing anything else? Running hills, ducking, hovering, moving the gun up, moving the gun to the side, or simply aiding and abetting before and after that?
If Miriam saw him drawing the gun, she would try to step in front of him.
Theo is way too far from anyone to actually do anything because he stepped away from.
It doesn't mean he can't initiate an action. It doesn't mean he can't initiate an action. Like, sure, yeah, trying to stop me or trying to attack the guy might not be something that you do initially, potentially, but you can declare what your intentions are. Do you intend to stop me, or do you intend on helping me, or just being a bystander?
Theo is going to attempt to body tackle Bill out of the way.
What, Bill?
No,
Bill's
Bill
not
left.
here anymore, homie.
This is Evan,
Yeah.
the Malkavian Primogen.
Oh,
I don't know who Evan is. I don't. In that case, shit. In that case, he tries to save Aaron from shooting this guy by pushing the gun up, but he's, like I said, he's so far across the room, he's not going to be able to make it.
It's alright.
Alright,
Miriam's trying to step in front of the gun, so it's, ow.
Alright. And Hess?
Let me ask you this, storyteller, before you move forward. If I potentially use weight of feather, would that give me a boost to forward propulsion?
No.
Oh,
and
I'm
for
sorry.
for context here, Theo and Miriam were capable of seeing that I was looking for a signal from Hess, right?
They weren't paying attention.
That's true. All right.
Hess?
Hess is gonna tangle up Miriam the best she can.
Alright, so several things need to happen at once. Miriam, would you be so kind as to use your stamina plus athletics as you move the distance and try to jam yourself in front of the discharging firearm? That sets your DC for your attempt to tangle and tackle Miriam out of the way of the gun. You must succeed by at least 2. Of the
That's
gun
also
towards the
nice.
roof and shoot into the ceiling. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your strength and athletics, which sets the DC?
That's at the DC for me.
I was gonna say also Hess has rapid reflexes, so
Yes, for a minor non-offensive action, you get to add that those dice of celerity to your pool.
Okay. And once you've got, what is this? 1 success, Theo?
That's what I think it is. I'm trying to scroll down, unfortunately.
All right, and
we
Yes,
go.
it's a 1 success.
1 success.
since this is a quick draw shot, am I Dex plus firearms there, Nobu?
Yep, you're shooting from the hip.
Okay.
Dang it, I tried my best to save you, but oh well.
All right.
I think people keep underestimating just how opposed to, killing people Miriam is.
he's not a people. What's my dice pool?
I had 5 successes.
You were tackling a strength athletics.
I believe your DC to beat, since you said it's +2 of Miriam's, is 7.
Is it difficulty 7 or was it 5?
Mirror's action is defensive, but yeah, you need to beat her by at least 1. So it's a tie. So it's 2 total for a complete success. So it would be a 7.
You get this. I believe in you. Nope.
Didn't roll.
There was a fucky wucky somewhere in there.
Yes, there was.
Oh shit!
In moments of stress, everyone always says things were happening too fast, or it happened all at once. I didn't even notice that it was happening. It was over before I knew it. Fighters in the ring always talk about how the moment slows down. It decelerates, and you're able to focus on where your shot is landing, where you need to cover up more, and you replay it over and over in your head. Those are both happening at the exact same time in almost every stressful situation. So as Miriam blurs into action, putting herself in front of Aaron's discharge of firearm, she sees the bullet in slow, moving towards her. Not enough time to move aside. It is 100% a headshot. It is typically something that will rearrange and scramble the entirety of her mind. Being shot sucks. Being shot in the head sucks more. For Kindred, it's still a survivable wound. It takes longer, but it's still survivable. So as she stands bracing for impact, that's just suddenly there. Didn't even see her move. The way of this shot being fired, she sees, suddenly there, 2 feet from where she was standing, the flail at her or the gun or some space in between, and missing every person. But the fact that he was able to move so quickly and cover so much ground is curious, something that she'll file away for later. The moment stretches out, time distills and dilates. She watches yet again another act of violence carried out in her name and in her acceptance. She's aiding and abetting an actual punishable crime that the coterie is yet once again doing. One more time into the breach. The gun sounds like a cannon. The room vibrating with ballistic explosion of sound. World slowing to a crawl. While for Testia, time speeds up. Everything's moving at a highly accelerated rate. Smiling as the bullet closes on him. Realizing at the last minute that Miriam was not, in fact, he was. Damian, watching as the bullet travels and moves from Aaron standing through Evan's skull. And it's only as the bullet makes contact that he blinks and closes his eyes and let nature take place. Song that comes to everyone's mind. Several, in some cases. But watching the shell split Evan's skull is not an image that you all will forget anytime soon. Fourth shot travels that same distance, working its way down as Evan falls in what feels like forever. Choices are made, decisions are happening, actions are taking place. Yesterday will never be what tomorrow hopes it was. But once more, once again, the coterie is the deciding factor in the immortality of another kindred's existence.